Good evening, Eve. You're all very welcome here to join us live in St Eugene's Cathedral Hall, just behind St Eugene's Cathedral in Derry. As you can see from the sign behind me here, we're celebrating this week Catholic Schools Week 2022, and the theme, as you may have heard earlier on, is the words of Jesus in the 10th chapter of St John's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 10, that I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. So we've had a retired principal last night, we've others involved in schools tomorrow and Thursday, but tonight we have two people who are the only reason that school exists. Arwen and Fiontan are year 14 pupils in St Conor's College, which is still on two sites, partly Kilrea and partly Clady over near Portdonone, both on the banks of the beautiful River Bann. So schools wouldn't exist if it weren't for young people like yourselves who are full of hopes and full of dreams. And I hope our schools do their bit and do their best to ensure that you can look forward to life with the fullest, that you can look forward to life that's full of energy. So what subjects are you doing, Arwen, yourself for A-level?
I'm doing history, RE and maths, and I love them all. They've all been great so far.
Yeah. And what sort of hopes do you have? How would you like to use those subjects? Because you mightn't ever need the content of the subjects, but you hope they'll prepare you for some of your further studies.
Yes, definitely. RE has, given me the chance to become more open-minded and see multiple points of view, and I think that's a very important thing to have for the future. History, critical evaluation, learning about the past makes a better future. And maths, I was saying it empowers me as a woman to know that I can do maths. It just fills me with a lot of confidence for the future.
Yes, maths sometimes is seen as a male subject.
Yes. I think my ancestors would be proud. It wasn't always something that women were seen to be capable of doing,
So what do you hope to do with those subjects?
I would like to go on to do broadcast production, something in media like film and radio.
Good. Well, we'll come back to that. And then, Fiontan, your A-level subjects are?
I do maths, biology, technology and design.
Very much STEM subjects.
Yes. For maths, I love the challenge that it brings, because you get a problem and you have to work it out, and then you get the answer, and it's just the feeling of the answer. Getting that correction is great. And
I mean, are you particularly interested in pure or applied or hydraulics or theoretical or
pure maths?
You like pure?
Yeah.
Okay.
And biology, I like learning about the world and how things are created and the genetics and how it's formed over time.
How complex things are.
Yes. And technology and design is just making a product, creating that product, sharing that product with other people, getting their feedback on it and trying to improve, which I really enjoy. As that's coming up through school, we've been building your own desk or whatever it may be, you've been creating in the class, and it's just the feeling of creating something and knowing you've done that, you've made this thing and brought it into the world. And then you would like to study? Architectural engineering is my main goal that I'm trying to get for in university.
Architectural engineering,
Yep.
Which means what?
It's kind of a mix between architecture and engineering. They bring the two together. So you'll be learning about both architecture and the engineering side.
Yeah.
So you'll be helping with the architects who create the thing and the engineers who design it and form it, and you'll just be taking both ideas and creating this new thing.
Okay. So you can design the studios, and then Arwen can do the broadcasting of the programs from the studios. Yeah. There's a combination for you. Because you're head boy and you're deputy head girl, obviously. So you're seen as leaders among your peer group. Looking back on your 6 or 7 years, initially in St Mary's as it was before it combined with St Paul's to become St Conor's, what have you learnt over this past number of years? Because there's the old saying, education is what remains after you've forgotten all you were ever taught. You come across to me as a confident young woman. Has education helped you in that journey?
Yes, definitely. I would say in first year I was not as confident as I am now at all, but the school really supports you. And even though it's not always explicitly mentioned, all the lessons the school gives you are definitely faith-based. They just being welcoming, like a warm community, teaching you confidence. It's all things that Jesus would have taught himself.
Lovely. And obviously you're studying that then at A-level as well.
Yes.
You're doing St. Luke's Gospel, had you told me earlier on?
We did St. Luke's Gospel last year. Now we're focusing on the Celtic Church.
And St. Luke's Gospel was very strong on the role of the Holy Spirit, on the centrality of the poor. So blessed are the poor, and all of those things.
Yes, Jesus caring for all. That was the main theme of it, was everybody should share in God's plan and should be in a welcome community.
And you felt that the school tried in its own way to make that real.
Yes, definitely, because we have loads of masses and we pray every morning, and there's posters up on Carlos Acutis and Mother Teresa around the room, but I think it's when people are just being themselves that God really shines through.
And you feel that's supportive of you rather than cramping your style?
Oh yes, definitely. I think there's many times I wake up in the morning and I'm at school and I don't, I'm tired, or I really want to be at home, and then we say our prayers in the morning, and then it kind of refreshes you for the rest of the day. You're like, you're not in it alone. You'll be okay.
That's a very positive memory that you have. You said you're involved in sport a lot. So the links between school and community are obviously important, because I keep saying, I think young people spend 18%, you being mathematicians should understand this, 18% of your waking hours in school. The rest of your time is spent outside of school. So obviously the link with community and sport has been important for you, has it?
Yeah, so coming up through school, when I was getting in the first year, I was very shy, and I didn't really know how to make friends. But definitely sport was a major aspect. There's other footballers who come from other primary schools or come from other villages or towns, and they've had obviously different experiences growing up with football. So that has been a major way of how I've been brought up through school. My football is the major backbone of how I've made friends at school and how I've developed up through my life.
And an important way to impress the girls. Unless things have changed from my time at school.
I suppose that is one benefit.
It's achievement in all those things gives you a certain status.
Yes, yeah.
That, and people will come along to you. I have nephews and nieces who have been growing up in Lougheed, and I know how important, for example, in their community, all those links are between community and school, where one is re-echoing the other. So you have good memories of coming up through your school years as well, of being part of a school community.
Yeah, so the school, I've come up through school, and when I go into school in the morning, it's I see going into school as being an extra extension of my family, because I have no brothers or sisters. So when I go into school, the whole school is a massive part of my family. And when I go into school, it's you pray in the morning in your form class, and so it's very faith-based, which is the same at home, because when I've been raised to have a strong Catholic faith from my grandfather, Dermot Devlin, who he was very good friends with a lot of priests when he was coming up through school, and he was very good friends with the Cardinal Fee, who has baptised my uncles and aunts, and so they have just passed down this very strong Catholic faith down through my family and through the generations.
And the love of the Irish language, I think, was part of what your grandfather was well known for. He taught at university, did he?
Yep. He taught Irish he taught it to a lot of people, and I remember my mum telling me how other students would come and to her and come to my aunt and saying how amazing he was as a teacher and how like confident he was. So that's what I've been trying to do throughout my school life, is just resemble that confidence he had with interacting with people and doing stuff that was like religion based, because he was very religious as well, having all those friends who were priests and the cardinal fee.
Obviously, you've had teachers in your school coming up who've given you a love for your subjects. But I think you have another love as well. And this is not your personal life I'm asking about here. Singing, music.
Yes, definitely.
How did the interest in music develop, and how have you used that over the years, Arwen?
I'm not really sure how it developed. It's always been in my life. Well, actually, my mummy is very musical. She's got her grade 6 in piano. When we were in primary school, she would teach choir, and she taught the choir at our chapel. I started ballet when I was 4, so that was always kind of a musicality I had from the beginning, and associated with good memories, you know. And then I also grew up to start singing. I wasn't very good at the start though, but I went to lessons, and I am now doing my grade 4 and 5 in musical theatre singing.
Musical theatre.
Yes.
I think we better get your autograph this evening before you're famous. And you would have been involved in singing in the parish choir as well, would you?
Yes, I love singing in the parish choir. I made so many friends who are still, after COVID, we can't have the choir for a while, at least until restrictions lift. So it's just me and my mummy, her playing the piano and me singing. But it developed such a nice family in the church. I always have people coming up to me and asking, "Oh, I can't wait to get back to the choir," and I'm like, "I can't wait to have you back to the choir." But no, I definitely see singing at Mass as like my way of praying. I really connect to the lyrics I'm singing, and I don't like it when somebody comes up and they tell me they've cried. I don't like that they've cried, but I do like that they've connected so deeply to the emotions of the song because of what I was singing.
Yeah, I mean, music and all the other creative arts. I mean, and architecture and engineering can be creative and artistic as well. But they say that they're the language of the soul, that you can express things in words.
Yes.
Have you any particular songs you enjoy or hymns that you particularly like?
One that I've liked and I've sang it for ages is Lady of Knock.
Yeah.
And also I sing very traditional ones. I love Nearer My God to Thee. I think it's so, I can't sing it without tearing up as well. It's just, you can just tell from the music and the lyrics that it just means so much to people.
Yeah. And obviously music can set the atmosphere for an event.
Yes.
It can still the people, or it can inspire them.
Yes, I know. I enjoy if it's a very happy theme in the Mass, singing, I can't even think of a song right now, but the very final hymn, and people, you can just tell from the atmosphere in the room.
And there are some wonderful, say, old Latin hymns as well, and people don't even have to understand the meaning of the words.
Yes.
And yet a good singer can communicate the atmosphere, can communicate something.
Definitely, I can't even think of any now. You'll have to.
Ave Marias or Panis Angelicus, and a whole range of those old Latin hymns.
Yes, and they just sound so beautiful, and they just sound so traditional and close to your heart.
Yeah, lovely. And obviously singing can be found in football matches as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps not in Latin, right, to be honest.
I'd say not, but definitely it can come out. Like, obviously the whole community comes together for a Gaelic match, or any form of sport for that matter. It brings everybody together, which obviously brings song and cheer, and that's why I love football, because it just brings everybody. Like, you could meet people from all over the country or anywhere in the world, and they would come together just to grow the sport.
Your school's an interesting school. It's only going, about 3 years now?
Yes.
There was St Mary's in Clady, and there was St Paul's in Kilray. How did that experience? How was that an experience? Was it difficult for the two schools to come together, or because you seem sort of you're reflecting to me, you're in a very settled school already,
Yeah.
even in a short space of time. Was it difficult?
Well, our two schools amalgamated back in 2018, the Clary and Corray, St Mary's and St Paul's, and it was troubling. It wasn't troubling, but it was at the start. It was very awkward because it felt like you were going back in the first year. Well, in my experience, it did, because you were meeting new people, you had new teachers coming in, and at the start, I wasn't really sure how it would work because the two sites and the 7-mile journey to get to each one. But now it's great. It's just in such a short space of time as well.
Well, tell us a little about the coat of arms of this new school, St Connor's, because you were able to vote on the name of the school. There were various names, and the pupils were entitled to vote as to what the school should be called. And obviously, somebody had to design the coat of arms. What sort of elements are there in the badge that you have on there, Fiontan?
Well, on our badge, there's the Holy Spirit and there's the cross, but there's also a bridge which shows the connection between both schools. So it's not just two different schools that are just there. They actually are connected, and we do share the...
It represents our motto for living, learning, excelling together.
Living, learning, excelling together.
Yes, and I think out of all those words, the key word is probably together, and that's what the bridge represents, is just us coming together.
Yeah. Living, learning, excelling together. That's very inspirational,
Yeah.
And you have that sense about the school that's what the school really wants to do.
And it is a very powerful motto, and the living part, which most people would find hard, is us coming together. But it also shows that you can live through life's ups and as well as life's downs, but you will get through it together, and you will learn about each other and about school and about faith, and excel up through your life and your school years together.
And obviously the two of you expect to do big things. You've chosen courses I've looked for this sort of courses. I'm interested. Yeah, that's for me, and you're going for it.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, there's not too many would instinctively assume I'll do broadcast engineering or whatever it is.
Yes.
I'll be a doctor, I'll be a teacher. But no, you obviously your mind's set on this.
Yes.
Do you want? What would your dream be at that work? Would you want to present news? Would you want to be in Kabul or doing drama on television? Or
I think honestly, it's just a complete mixture. I've always had a passion for it. If I was anywhere near where the buzz was of a set, or whether that be me on the set or me behind the camera, I just would love to do it for the rest of my life, and to watch other people do it as well. I would just love to be in the industry.
And do you know anyone personally? Was it somebody that you met that inspired you, or you just think that's what I would want to do?
Yeah, I just think it was something I would love to do. It's completely veered away from what most of my family does. It's quite random in that regard. I do know my sister's friend, he is currently showing his own movie. He went to London to do screen production, and he's currently showing his movie in several theatres across Northern Ireland. So he really, although I already had my mind set on it, I realised people from here can make it.
That confirmed it and affirmed it. And of course there's a big industry in filmmaking now, particularly in Belfast, but the Dark Hedges are very popular as well, and other places. Have you any particular things you would love to design? I mean,
well, from when I was really young, I loved drawing buildings. I just loved the thought of me creating my own house, or creating just something that other people would visit, or that they would just enjoy. So that's why my whole life I just loved drawing buildings, mainly buildings. That's why I would like to go into the architecture engineering. That's why I chose that, and I've just pursued that throughout my whole life, pretty much.
Great. You have a passion for it, which is wonderful, and you're excelling in that sense. You want to do something wonderful. You want to create something beautiful, because things can be functional and not made to last, but creating something beautiful, and knowing the different requirements, whether it's for storage or whether it's for a theatre or whatever it happens to be. Well, I think we're getting to near the end of our time. I really enjoyed the conversations with the two of you. Fiontan, thank you very much for sharing something of your experience of the school, its links with the community, and your dreams for the future. Arwen, thank you so much for your passion for the whole life of the school that seems to have energised and enabled you to fly, that you haven't in any way felt it restricted your dreams for the future, but actually give you rocket fuel to think big. So, Arwen and Fiontan, thank you so much for being with us this evening. It's not every 18-year-old says, I'm going to go along live on camera and answer questions with the Bishop. Thank you so much. Thank you to your RE teacher for bringing you down here and looking after you so well. I hope you've enjoyed that conversation. We have so many wonderful young people all around this country who deserve nothing but the best from us, the adults, in their lives. And our schools are committed to enabling them to live life to the full in their schools so they can dream of living life to the full no matter what life happens to throw against them. So, Arwen and Fiontan, thank you so much. Thank you for listening and joining in. I hope you can join us again tomorrow evening when we have a chair of a Board of Governors in one of our Catholic schools, reflecting on the contribution that governors and community can make to enabling a school to flourish and blossom. Thank you for being with us. Slán agus Beannacht.